Good evening, everyone. So we're here up close and personal with BAT Malaysia. I'm Daniel Saha. I'm an Associate Consumer Activation Manager with BAT. I've been working here for about 2.5 years. I was a global graduate back then, spent about a year in the program, graduated from that, and I've been working on my current role since then. What does it entail? So basically we engage with our consumers. I won't expand more on that. So today we have two amazing personalities. That's Felicia and Stephanie. So before we move forward, I'd like to get some time for them to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm Felicia and I'm the HR Director for BAT Malaysia. And I'm really excited today, to meet all of you. And it's my first live event, which makes it doubly exciting. So hello, everybody. Yeah, I have been in BAT Malaysia for a little bit more than a year. I just recently celebrated my first anniversary here, in August. And they say time flies when you're having fun. And it's probably been the fastest 12 months plus, in my life. Now, I come from several MNCs before joining BAT Malaysia across diverse industries. So I've been in consulting. I started my career in PwC as a consultant before joining the pharmaceuticals industry, where I took on my first HR leadership role. And then I moved on to consumer goods, where I spent about 6.5 years before joining BAT Malaysia as the HR director. Over to you, Steph.
Hi, equally excited like what Felicia said. It's like my first live stream event as well. My name is Stephanie. I'm actually the Head of Change Management. Joined BAT 14 years ago as Marketing Management Trainee. Been through different functions in BAT, marketing, operations, HR now. Very colourful career in BAT per se. I actually left BAT for a year to actually start my own business. But eventually I still find that BAT is the place. I actually came back and joined HR. So.
Right. So, I mean, I just realized that you celebrated your 1-year anniversary in August. So how was that first 12 months in BAT? How does that feel like?
Wow, I think exciting is probably an understatement. Yeah, I joined BAT, expecting to do business transformation, and that is exactly what I did and more. Yeah, in that year. And of course, when we went into COVID at the start of this year, the global pandemic was naturally a very unprecedented time for all of us. So the sheer resilience of the organization really came through at that point. Coupled with the energy that I see day in, day out, whether or not we're working from home or back in the office. And what really amazed me was the passion and the can-do attitude, that the whole organization brought to the table during times of adversity, that helped us pull through this period, with a lot of success.
Right. Yeah. Steph, could you tell us a little bit more about what is BAT Malaysia all about?
I think other than the business side itself, it's about friendship. It's the family, right? So, like I said, I've been with the company for 14 years now. Why is it still with the company? It's because I love working here. The passion that I have with the organizations, with the people around, with the friends that we actually built here. So, it's a very close-knit family or business per se. Mm-hmm. Every one of us itself, even after work, we still hang out together. Be it, I think you just went to futsal yesterday with a group of them, right? So there are people who plays badminton together. So working here itself, it is not just any other workplace. It is a family coming together and build a business. Yeah.
So how about you, Felicia? How do you? What's your sense like of BAT Malaysia? Like right now, pre-COVID and when we just came out?
I think the one consistent, thing that I've observed is the dynamic nature of the organization. Yeah, people from diverse backgrounds coming together. We have got, BAT born and bred employees. We've got people who joined at mid-career. We've got senior leaders who come across, day in, day out, with the passion that they bring that really resonates with me, and that's something I see on a day-to-day basis.
I like to pick a little bit on what you have said earlier, which is energy in BAT. So I see that a lot in the organization. About 2.5 years ago, when I first came into the company, I was so surprised on how passionate and very energetic people are in BAT. So when I first came in as a GG, as a global graduate, a lot of people came in and helped me to facilitate my movement from becoming a student into the working world. Now, I would just like to understand what are the qualities that you're looking for in a fresh graduate getting into the global graduate program, Lisha?
Yeah, great question, Daniel. When you come in as a global graduate, yeah, you are naturally coming in to be groomed as future leaders of BAT Malaysia. So we do definitely look for resilience, because it's about not just winning the sprints, but winning the marathon, yeah, in the long run. We're also looking for people with learning agility, right? Because it's about how quickly you pick up things, how quickly you apply, and how quickly you pivot from there, yeah, when there are key learnings to be gotten. And on top of that, it's things like the energy that you mentioned earlier, the energy that you bring to the table, the passion, the can-do attitude, and of course the drive, yeah, why you show up to work every day and why you do the things that you do, yeah, that drive factor is going to bring you far.
You mentioned a lot about drive. So I like that word, right? Because when I was a GG, I was tasked to drive quite a few projects. It stretches beyond my capabilities at that time, and that forces me to learn. So what kind of projects do young graduates would expect out of a GG program?
I think I can take that, Christians. Coming from the personal experience per se, when I was a marketing management trainee back then, I was given the opportunity to actually launch the biggest brand for that year itself. Be it from stock management on retail activations and as well as internal launch itself. It is so exciting, right? And you are being empowered, even though you are just a young grad, to actually launch the biggest brand for the company. And you are managed under the supervisions of a line manager or assignment manager. So you are not being alone itself, left alone to just run it. You have someone to coach you through, which is a very fantastic experience. That being said, that was like 14 years ago. Yet, till now, recently, we also have Gigi, who actually run, she developed an automated dashboard to actually monitor all the sales performance. So it is fantastic kind of like real business project that's given to the individual to run. It's not just a uni assignment anymore. It's real impactful projects that can change how do we work on a day-to-day basis. So yeah.
That sounds very interesting to me. I mean, those projects might seem big and seems like a lot for a new graduate to take on.
Definitely.
But you know, it is something so challenging that you want to do it and finish it off, and gives you a little bit of sense of, happiness after you're done with it.
Satisfaction.
So there's a satisfaction that when you're done with it, right? So. What is the culture like in BAT Malaysia that fosters that ability for us to do that?
I'll take that first, Steph, and maybe you can chip in, build on it. I think we are a winning organization. Yeah, we love to win. So, that essence is in the DNA of BAT. Yeah, on top of that, I think it is an organization that is highly dynamic. Yeah, and I'll just build on the point that Steph talked about later. We are a very close-knit organization. So your workmates are also your friends. And at the same time, we work hard, we play hard, and we celebrate big and small wins together as a team. Yeah, coupled with that, we are also on a journey to build a high-performing organization, right, whereby delivery, stellar delivery of performance is rewarded, recognized, and also celebrated.
I like the fact that you mentioned camaraderie. I think it helps a lot with how we work as an organization. Every day you come to work not only to work with your colleagues, but also to work with your friends. That makes it a lot easier for us to adapt when tough times come in. Speaking of tough times, I think the elephant in the room is that, the pandemic has affected Malaysians a lot, I mean globally even. So how did we manage to overcome those challenges, Steph?
Yeah, I think globally itself, this is a global kind of pandemic, right? COVID never had happened before globally. So it's not easy for us to actually just change it, but we adapt very quickly as an organization itself. We went through work from home. Actually, even before the whole pandemic itself, we actually have a work from home policy. People can actually apply to work from home, flexible kind of working environment. Now, during the whole pandemic situations that happened back in March, everyone works from home. But even though individually working from home, we make sure that the organizations are well connected. On a weekly basis itself, the management team, which is our directors, will give an update to the organizations on the business, on the challenges, or even ideas that the organizations brought it forward to solve some of these challenges. So from that angle itself, we are well connected with the business front. On the softer side itself, when it comes to people, I think you can vouch for that. Your team actually came up with this whole energizer activities for us. You know,
yeah, that was really fun.
Yeah, in the evening itself, we have got all these kind of trivial. We have got games. You know, people can win prizes. So I guess from that angle itself, be it whether on a normal BAU working environment or during pandemic that we work from home, we are very, very well connected. Learning from that itself, that's why we actually launched this thing called the Culture Collective. So this platform allows us to actually connect virtually, because even though now we have gone back to semi kind of like BAU, we have colleagues throughout the whole nation itself that's connected throughout this Facebook group that we call the Culture Collective. There itself, we have got the weekly communications, we have got things that we would like to share throughout the organizations, be it on the knowledge, be it on learnings, or even games, right?
Yep.
We have got leaderboards that on a weekly basis itself we will announce who is like the top, like dethrone Michael kind of stuff. So that gets the whole organizations well connected together.
I think it's good that you mentioned the Culture Collective. Just last week we just had a burpee challenge. So everybody just recorded a 1-minute video of them doing burpees. You know, some of them might not be as nice, but you know, it's good to see. It's good to see that, you know, that the organization is promoting the well-being of the employees while having fun.
Yeah.
So I think on more towards.
By the way, who won that burpee challenge, Daniel?
I lost.
You
That's
lost.
so,
I think Chris and
so the director, one of the
Sujan,
directors won.
yeah.
Chris won.
That's right.
Sujan, right?
He and Sujan.
Yeah.
So both of them won. They had the same. They did 26 in about 1 minute. That's
Wow.
pretty amazing.
Yeah.
With proper form. So on a business standpoint, right? Was there anything set in place, given that there is a stigma being put on the industry like tobacco that we're working in right now?
I guess there is no set and stone kind of stuff in place, but we know that from a consumer front itself, the consumer tastes evolved over the years, especially the recent years itself. Hence, the group actually has put in like new products under the whole new category portfolio. So from that angle itself, we also need to build the capability for the organizations, because we have really embarked the journey on digital marketing. It's no longer a traditional marketing that we used to do, right? So on the e-commerce, on the social platform, on digital marketing, those are the things that we would need to build the capability into our people, be it in our own people or be it we hire from external. Yeah.
I think a good add-on to that, right? I mean, I've been working in the organization for about 2.5 years. BAT has always been evolving. The BAT that I saw when I first came in is completely different from what I'm seeing right now. That means the organization has changed, has adapted, and becoming better based on the challenges that came in. So I think another question for Felicia, when we touch a bit on change, the pandemic has caused a lot of it, right? So some of the students out there might be questioning, you know, with the job market being a bit challenging nowadays, what are the qualities and skills expected out of the fresh grads to stay ahead of the competition?
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic question, yeah, given the times that we live in. One of the things that I think will really see you through this whole change period is to be comfortable with ambiguity, right? Because change is the only constant. And as we speak, you know, things are still evolving out there, nothing is ever certain. So embrace the change, right? And by that, you know, if you're finding that you're comfortable with the change, that means that you are also able to respond to it and pivot and learn from it quickly. So therein comes the other element, which is also going to be as important as that, which is agility. Yeah, agility is how quickly we can learn, how quickly we apply our learnings, and how quickly we then take learnings from that to continue to learn and to build. The traditional age-old traits such as working hard and working smart are going to still put you in good stead, as is having fun in what you do, because you know when you enjoy it and when there's passion in what you do, that's going to make it feel less of, you know, a chore. And last but not least, I think you know, traits that I have not mentioned earlier that are going to also be universally important are communication skills and managing stakeholders, because you can have a fantastic idea, you know, very sexy proposition, but if you can't convince others, nor can you win over stakeholders and bring people on the ride and journey with you, then it's not going to get you very far.
Yeah, I agree with that. One of the best things that I like about BAT is that there's passionate people all around. Every single day when you come in, there will always be somebody screaming about how much we have sold yesterday and talking about what our plans good to go in for tomorrow, just to get more volumes going in. So I think that's the only questions that I have. We are opening some questions for the audiences online. Let's see, we have quite a few here. The first question is, it's on BAT graduate program. So how many graduate programs, how many other graduate programs offered by companies from many different industries? Sorry, what makes BAT graduate program different from the others? So I think I can take that, yeah? So I did engineering back in university. It was in Sydney. I did about 4 years in Australia, and BAT came into the fray, right? So I think what happened was I didn't want to practice engineering, and then I wanted to come out and work for an MNC. For FMCG, then BAT is one of those organizations that offers a graduate program, because you need an accelerated program for me to learn more in the most shortest time. So I think that is number one. You learn a lot in a shorter span of time. Yeah. Number two, there is a lot of coaching and help that was offered by the organization, not only by your line managers, but also by the organization systematically. So it has been put in place and helps you to grow with these guidance. Number three, what helped me that I really wanted to go is the international experience that I can get. After 6 months working in the organization as a global graduate, I had the privilege to be sent by the organization to the UK for about 2 weeks. Over there, I've spent 2 weeks over there with about 174 global graduates from around the world, from 47 countries. So imagine being in 2 weeks with 147 people from around the world. So it's a completely different experience. You will learn a lot. And that is the three things that I think, if I want to sell it to anyone, those are the three things that I would like to give, that I would say, why is it better from the other graduate programs?
Yeah, I think, great answer, and coming from the horse's mouth, that's also fantastic, Daniel. I'll build on it and also talk about, the environment that you mentioned. Here at BAT, in that very short 1 year of the program, we do offer you a very structured and supportive environment to stretch yourself. Yeah, it's not a lie, it's not easy, right? But when you stretch yourself, along with it comes the interventions that Daniel spoke about, the coaching interventions, the coaching moments that we will provide to you, right? The tools, that we will offer to you, to aid your learning, the stretch assignments, and of course, several other learning interventions that will form part and parcel of your whole experiential, stint as a global graduate.
So, thank Thank you for that. Second question is there any specific education criteria to apply for BAT graduate program? So I don't think that is.
No, so like you mentioned, you actually study engineering and you are
Yep.
in marketing.
Yep.
I study agriculture. I joined the marketing program as well. So we have people who study like biochemical, who's in marketing.
Actuarial
yeah,
science.
actuarial science, who is in marketing. But I think when it comes to finance per se, we
Yep.
will need a finance graduate. Yeah. For other functions itself, we don't have a specific kind of majors that we are looking for. We look for people who's passionate, having that kind of energy. Of course, your CGPA needs to be on a 3.2 pointers, academic-wise. In terms of your personality, you need to be a very outgoing person who want to be in a big family, who's not worried about speaking up, you know, talking about your ideas. So, yeah, then you are the people that we are looking for.
Yep. Another question, quite interesting. Being in tobacco industry can be difficult with the rules and regulations. How do BAT twist the marketing strategy locally and globally while being obliged to follow the rules and acts? So I think I'll take that one. What we are doing right now is we reach to the consumers through under the remits of the law, using our touch points that is existent, that is allowable by the law and by the acts that it has been approved by the Parliament.
Yes.
Right? So that means through our dispensary unit to bring awareness for our consumers. That is how we see it. And of course, there's a lot of work being done behind the scenes. So, for example, how we deal with store owners. How do we, make sure the stocks are ready in stores, not making sure that it is out of stock. Those kind of things is like a peddling duck. You won't see the feet moving, but it's actually moving real fast. So, anything to add from that?
No, and I think, something that we're consistently doing and evolving as you speak, Daniel, is also how we're enhancing the digital touch points out there, keeping in line with all the local regulations.
Yes, interesting that you touched upon the digital capabilities. 2.5 years ago, BAT is very limited in terms of how we leverage digital to expand our business. So when people say digital, people will always think about consumer-facing digitally, but we have adapted beyond that. Yes, understanding consumer relationship management is there, but we have also improved our capability digitally to manage our back end of the system, making sure forecasting is right, making sure that our volumes are intact, all those things
and
are
getting the
important
right
as well.
insights and analytics.
Getting the right
Yeah.
insights, that is going to be very important. That is how we leverage on digital. Okay, next question. So there has been several hits on the tobacco industry from introduction of vapes to COVID. How is BAT coping with it?
Sorry, the question
again?
is vape to COVID.
There has been hits. So there has been hits on the tobacco industry from the introduction of vapes due to COVID. How is BAT globally coping with it? So I think to restructure the question, I think BAT has been hit with a lot of criticisms on introduction of vape into different countries. How does BAT cope with it, I guess?
I guess from a group point itself, we have teams who manages those kind of hits and whatnot. So I don't think it's for us in BAT Malaysia itself to actually answer that questions per se, because in Malaysia itself, we actually don't have vape from a law's perspective.
The next question is, how are the CSR program in BAT like? Is there any specific cause that BAT believes in?
Yeah, I think, CSR, as it's known today, is what we refer to as our ESG, which is our environment, our social, as well as our governance piece. And in fact, it's a multi-pronged strategy that we have today. Not one cause, but we've got several things running across the line in terms of what we do for the environment, and the rest of the other pillars, which we will be unveiling, over the course of this year. So watch this space. I'm quite sure we will be sharing more, as and when the campaigns come to life.
Okay. Before I ask another question, keep the questions coming. We would love to answer more questions from here. So there's another question on, is there an R&D team in BAT for students like biochemists and material sciences to venture into? What are the latest researches going on right now in BAT?
Again, that team itself does not sit in BAT Malaysia per se.
Yep.
There is, of course, in any manufacturing company itself, there will be R&D team.
Yep.
So you can actually check on our webpage. So it's career.bat.com. You can find out more from there, but it's just not in BAT Malaysia because BAT Malaysia is a very commercial entity. We manages all the sales and distributions from the business front. Yeah.
There's another question. We understand that BAT cannot promote their product, but how do you promote your new products? So I'll take this question. I think, again, I like to emphasize this again and again, tobacco industry is a very highly regulated industry, and the way that we market our products must be under the remits of the law. It should follow whatever that the government says in black and white. There's no two ways about it. And how do we ensure that we bring awareness to smokers above 18? One of it is through our touch points, such as our dispensary unit. That there is some communications that could be done there to consumers just to bring awareness, not for promotion at all. Because under the tobacco control regulations, you can't market your products at all to the consumers. So I think we need to think a bit more. We need to understand how the regulation is like, and BAT operates under the law to make sure that we never go against the law.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Future generations are becoming more health conscious. How is BAT planning to tackle the challenge?
So, like I mentioned just now, consumer tastes are evolving, right? Hence, that's why we understand that we have this portfolio called the new category. It's where we have got the potential risk-reduced product. So from that angle itself is where BAT is venturing into. Yeah.
I think a little bit to add up on that. So BAT is venturing into, like she said, is potentially reduced risk product, right?
PRRP.
PRRP, that's what we call it internally. Over in Malaysia, we could see Glow out there, right, being in the market. So those are one of the products that has been launched into the market to cater to the consumers that are a bit more health conscious. It's not more an healthier alternative, it's just a potentially reduced risk product. Next question. Even though soft skills are important, how does one's technical skills affect her chances in joining BAT graduate program?
Yeah, I mean, don't get us wrong, right? We do, of course, value the technical skills, and those will come through the form of, the assessments and the interviews that you'll be put through as part and parcel of the whole recruitment process. Maybe I'll get Steph, you to share a little bit more in terms of what to look forward to in terms of these assessments as part of the hiring process.
Yeah, so during the assessment itself, first, of course, you need to send in your CV. We will screen through your CV. Upon that itself, we will have the HR business partner together with the functions that you're applying for to interview you. Upon that itself, we will bring you through an assessment center where we have presentations that we will need you to do. We will have case studies. We will also have roundtable discussions. So what we are looking for is really team players. We are actually looking at your thought process, your thinking, strategic-wise. So from that itself, then we move on to functionals director interviewing you. So upon that, you successfully being past all those stages, we will then offer you the role of a GG. Now, on technical side itself, like what you mentioned or you asked, basically you will learn from the job, right? So like Daniel mentioned, there will be coaches that coach you on the technical side. Other than finance, a bit more into what you study in finance, the others itself, we will actually bring you through the journey in learnings on the technical bit. Yeah.
So next question is, other than learning technical skills, what are the top soft skills that we need in order to be an outstanding candidate? I'll take this question.
I know you're dying to. Please.
I'll take this question. How do you become outstanding candidate? The way that I think the organization sees it is that how prepared are you to become part of the global graduate, part of BAT, right? And that means there should be a lot of preparations that needs to be done before going into the interview or the application. I got hired before. I'm just going to talk about my own experience, what has happened before. I got hired before I graduated, not because of power or whatever. It's just more like I understand what BAT wants. So that means before sending in your CV, make sure that it is applicable to the organization that you're applying to. So I did engineering, so I had a lot of engineering stuff to put in my CV, but I kind of filtered that out, manage it, and put a little bit in there and adapt it into what BAT wants. After getting that done, it makes it a lot easier for the recruiters to say and shortlist you for the interview. When you get into an interview, I think the most important thing is preparation. Understand what the organization wants, understand how the business works, understand what are the challenges of the business itself. It's like buying a stock. It's like you need to understand what are the decisions that has been made before you buy into the stocks to make sure that you will get money in the future. Same as having a job. Know what you're getting into. You're going to spend a lot of time there. That is why there's going to be a lot of preparation before getting into the organization.
I can share a few more tips. So we also look for people, who is good at time management. How do you prioritize your stuff? Which is more important than the others? How do you manage people? Example, during, in uni, you will have society. Are you a leader? How do you manage team? Are you a team player? How do you manage a project per se? We also look for people who has project management kind of skill, because a lot of things that you do in the organization is where you manage projects, be it on brand launches, be it on your own functional efficiency project. We look for those kind of criteria or those kind of requirements as well. So there are a few tips that you can also, look into in terms of putting into your CV more. Yeah.
Okay. Next question, what are the career growth promises in BAT?
We can talk about trajectory and we can talk about possibilities, maybe not promises. Yeah. So look, when you join BAT, and let's say if you join as a global graduate and you graduate from the program, the opportunities are endless. Yeah, you display that track record and those leadership behaviors, and the path can take you anywhere. Stephanie, who joined as a marketing, a management trainee, is now in HR. Yeah, Daniel, as a mechanical engineer, he's now in activation. So the possibilities are endless, but it's a two-way path. Yeah, ultimately your career is your own hands. So I would encourage you to also have candid conversations with your line manager about what you want as your own growth plan, yeah, where you want to be, right, what your aspirations are, and we'll see how we can make that happen in accordance to honing your strengths and also, helping you hone your development gaps.
I think that's a good segue to the next question. So the next question asks, what are the kind of support that BAT provides to help, to assist in career growth for BAT employees?
I think here, as I mentioned earlier, so I'll take that and feel free to build on your own experiences, both of you. I think as I mentioned earlier, we do provide that structure and that support, for you. And we do, we actually put across a hybrid learning experience, to support you on that journey. So of course, we will provide the classroom training. That's the traditional piece, whereby you learn, either online, through e-learning, through classroom trainings, and we recently launched a really cool, sexy piece whereby digital learning is the way to go, right, on an app called The Grid. So, you know, we give you all the boosters in terms of what you need to do to learn through the traditional way. On top of that, I think a very important part of that learning is also on the job. Yeah, the best way to learn is on the job, whereby you're put on stretch assignments, you know, you're working on cross-cultural, cross-functional projects and so on, and you pick up as you learn. And last but not least, you know, let's not forget the importance of the relationships, yeah, in the organization, the coaching relationships, the mentors that we will put in place for you to enable a very holistic path, yeah, in order for you to reach your career goals.
I think that is great. The support that was given, the grit, for example, I could learn everything, even something that is beyond work. Yeah. 2 days ago, I tried to look at 3D printing. I still don't know how to do that, but you know, I tried to learn a little bit. It looks pretty cool.
Is that something you need to get some work done?
It's off my work time at that time. So, on top of whatever that I've been learning. Anyway, so there's another question. Can you share some inspiring stories from the program, locally and globally?
I'll take on one inspiring story. I'm quite sure, you know, that the individual will be very happy for us to share, you know, her success story with all of you. Yeah, and she's actually a peer of mine on the leadership team today. Yeah, she is the brands and strategic planning and insights director, heading up the marketing team. Her name is Genevieve Hugh, and she started off her journey not so long ago as a management trainee, a global graduate, as we call it today, in BAT Malaysia. Yeah, and you know, she is in her mid-30s, very successful now as a director on the leadership team. And Jen brings with her, you know, exactly the traits we spoke about earlier as a global graduate, right? When she came on board, you know, back then, she then undertook a series of, you know, assignments across the marketing spectrum. And her most recent assignment before coming back into her current role was as the head of trade, you know, in Indonesia, yeah, outside of Malaysia, on an international assignment before coming back.
Yeah, I think that's inspiring. I mean, there is some other inspiring stories, at least for me. One of my buddies when I first came into BAT is called Daryl Chin. I think shout out to Daryl.
Hi Daryl, if you're watching.
Shout out to Daryl. So he was my buddy when I first came in. He was the one who taught me how to do, you know, little things that I don't know how to do as a fresh graduate. Little things like, you know, properly pivot a big data set. Those things are what Daryl taught me. So what happened was he worked, he was a GG, and then he went into brands attachment as an exec, and then right now he's a manager, he's a area manager for Kuala Lumpur. So he represents BAT Malaysia volumes in Kuala Lumpur. To me, it's nothing less than impressive, to be honest. So I think that is the inspiring portion for me. I look up to that. So again, shout out to Daryl. So next question, what are some of the elements of global graduate that graduates usually struggle with? What are the elements of this role do graduates usually struggle with? I think I can take the answer. So when you first come into BAT, into the working world, you realize it's not like how your student life is. There's a lot more other people for you to manage, a lot more differences in how you think, managing expectation of others, how others manage expectations of yours. So I think that is something that is really challenging, at least for me when I first came in. I really do not know how it operates, or whether or not I need to talk to this person, talk to that person, but you learn as you go. So those are the things that were taught by the organization, your coaches, your mentors, your buddies. I think that is, the support that is given by BAT is sufficient and good enough for me to actually learn and move forward through the organization. Anything to add?
No.
On that? So next question, does BAT encourage or support financially global graduates to pursue courses such as SHRM-CP/SCP and World at Work. I'm assuming that he's asking more about, do we support courses beyond?
Yeah, we have an education support scheme. Yeah, so for those of you who want to pursue relevant, postgraduate or supplementary courses, yeah, by all means, we have that in place.
Next question is, what are the skills required in BAT finance position?
Well, it's the usual, your finances, accounts, and yeah.
The basic ones
basic,
are the
yeah.
basic
You
ones.
need to be able to count, you need to be able to balance the books, and you need to be analytical, right, with numbers.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess it's, if let's say you put it on how you manages your own finances, right? It's like your own business. Being whatever role that you are into it itself, you need to manage the money that you put inside itself has a return of investment. So that's like the finance team is like, the keeper of it to make sure that investment put in itself, we have got returns. Otherwise, how do we run a business?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Stephanie, there's a question for you. What is your advice for fresh graduates pursuing career on something different than their studies? Agriculture, right? You did agriculture back then, so it's very interesting.
I think it's what do you like, right? You need to know what you like. Because like what Felicia mentioned, you need to be passionate about things that you do. If let's say you like something, you pursue for it itself, then you will be successful.
Yep.
I think that's the most important thing. And I think one more tips is do not think that you are just a graduate, because the power and as well as the change that you can actually bring to the organizations, to yourself, to people around you itself, is infinity. Because the way that you think is like you want to change something, you go for it itself, you find ways, bring people along with you to actually make that work. You as a GG has that kind of opportunity to actually do so. So it's not about the courses or the majors that you are in. It's about where you want to bring yourself to, or where you want to bring the team or the organization to. Then you work for it. Yeah.
I think a little bit to add up to that. I think the organization would like to see you to bring in your difference, right?
Yes.
So for example, I did engineering back then. I might be very strong with numbers, so I think I am.
I hope you are.
So that is where you bring your capabilities of what you have studied in uni and adapt it to the organization.
Yeah.
So how, number one is how, like what Steph said, follow your passion. Like what do you want to do? How do you want to wake up every single day going to work?
Yeah.
And then second, how you adapt to what you have done previously. I think that's going to be very important, separating you from other colleagues to bring in your difference to get the organization to move. A little bit on the heavy side of the question, Stephanie. So, hi, Ms. Stephanie, the head of Change Management BAT. May I ask what are the significant changes in BAT management what are the changes in management that BAT has experienced? How did it impact the company? What do you deal with mostly?
So I've done a few transformative kind of project roles, so locally and as well as globally. Locally itself, sadly, but yes, a few years ago we would need to close down our factory because we are moving into a more commercial kind of focus for BAT Malaysia. So when we do transformations change like that, the most important thing that we would need to actually look out for or look after is our people, because people drive business. We put them first, right? So when that happened, we have got a team of 200 over people who's impacted because they worked in the factory. Yep. So how do we make sure that we bring them through the journey, assist them in terms of after BAT itself, we give them an outplacement program to make sure that they go through like CV preparations, interviewing, or courses like computer courses or English courses, assisting them to actually find jobs outside of BAT. So every single time itself when we do transformation change, people comes first. We need to look at whether people capability, whether we look at people losing their job, how do we prepare them into the life after BAT. So from that angle, whether is it local or global, people is the one that we actually look after. Yeah.
We have few last questions to answer. So this is quite interesting. I like this question. Question from Hannah Azhar. She's also wondering, what will the future of BAT look like on flexibility of the working environment and remote working as the pandemic forced all industries around the world to embrace digitalization. So basically, what is the working flexibility like in the future for BAT, especially post COVID?
I think flexibility is definitely the way going forward. Yeah, whereby we have already started to experience that, by leaps and bounds during this pandemic period. Yeah, we've had, the ability to actually have flexible working arrangements already for some time now, even before the pandemic. But what we do see as a big wave of change coming is the whole digitalization of things like learning, of things like the way we conduct business, that will continue to actually evolve as part and parcel of our digital and data transformation journey in BAT. So much more to come in this space.
Okay. I think we have answered this before, but what do you think about the culture and the value of the organization? I think I can get that question. I think the culture of the organization is that we are a culture of winners, and BAT is an epitome of that. I remember telling my best friend who came together into the organization, I was telling him, like, this place is crazy. This is a bunch of winners that hates to lose, right? And whenever we see the slightest sign that we are losing, we will lose our minds. I think that is what we like about the organization. It is driven, and I think it is very important in driving the business. Driven is one thing, very passionate as well. That coupled together will definitely make a place like BAT very, very interesting. Anything to add from that? Nothing? Okay, so we move on to the next question. This is for Felicia. Since you have been working in various industries before, what is the one thing that you would like to advise for everyone to hold going into the working force, be it as a manager, as a fresh graduate, or even as a director one day?
Well, I think going into the working force, if I speak, to the audience, whom I believe are mostly graduates, or soon to be graduates today, I think transitioning as a graduate from university to the working environment is a huge change, in itself already. So one of the things that I've personally, had work in my favor is to really hold an open mind, and to be like a sponge. And that meant, taking every opportunity as an opportunity to learn, right? Being very hungry about trying to gain knowledge, right? Looking up, and probably picking up the good traits, that you observe in leaders, right? You take it with a pinch of salt when you observe behaviors which are probably not so much behaviors that you want to emulate, and essentially just treating it as a whole learning journey. Being curious, being hungry, and being very driven to continue to be the best that you can be.
Looks like we are at the end of the session. Thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. We love to speak in front of you, although we can't see you from behind the screens, but thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in, guys.
Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
Thanks, Graduan.
And shout out to Graduan.
Thanks.